I'm Jen Shank, Central Mass Real Estate Broker, coming to you today to talk about standards. Um, when you're thinking about listing your home for sale, and maybe you're talking to multiple realtors, brokers, we can all do it our own way. My way is pretty particular in that I want to work with sellers at whatever pace and whatever energy level they have, and I just throw my all into it. And it does bother me. I can't get every listing, and that's fine. There's not enough hours in the day for that. But it does bother me when I see somebody who picked somebody else for some reason. Usually the reason people pick somebody else is because they're given a sale price that's not realistic. And they get excited about that, or they hear a very low commission rate and they get excited about that. But the bottom line is, anybody who knows me well knows I hate math, but you cannot do an equation without enough variables. And if you only know a percentage of what someone's charging and they just whip out some high sales number and they don't have the data to back it, you're not likely to do any better. You'll do worse. Finding somebody who will just do basically a very mediocre job of getting your property prepared and presented for sale. So I saw something once that said you want to be someone's first kiss, second wife, third realtor. I've only ever, I think, been someone's third realtor one time, and it was like, those poor people were so beaten up by the market by that point, they did anything I said. But I'm frequently people's second realtor. And a few things I saw this week made me think this is what I need to talk about today. And the two things I saw this week that bothered me are that, oh great, somebody just pulled up for my open house and I'm not ready. Two things that bothered me this week that I saw. One was a listing. I'm doing some research for an upcoming listing in a local town, and a house that was very similar to the one I'm thinking of, trying to come up with comparables for. And it's been on the market for about 220 days. And the first line of so I need to find out, okay, well, if 220 days, something's not right there. It's not the right price. If that was the price, it would be long sold. And then I looked, and the first line of the description says, December, fill in the blank date, open house canceled. Now, it doesn't say if it's canceled because someone was sick, or they accepted an offer, or the weather was bad. I don't know, but it's the end of February. So that agent hasn't looked at their listing description since December. What else aren't they looking at? So that just like, and I didn't know that listing, so I have nothing against the agent. I didn't even look to see who the agent was. I never saw the house before, so it's not that I sour grapes. Another seller I'm talking to now, they had their house listed a couple of years ago, and it was canceled. They decided to rent it instead. And now I'm talking with them, and I said, one thing I'm pretty strong on is if you're served by private sewer, we need to get your, sorry, I'm not saying it right. If you have a septic system, you need to get that Title V inspection done before the property is listed. The reason for that is because a couple of reasons I have in mind as far as my pet peeves, and we know I have pet peeves. One is if I am working with a buyer and I see that it's said the listing they're interested says seller will test septic with an accepted offer, or just not done. There's a checkbox, septic inspection required, not done. It says to me the seller's just testing the market, because a Title V inspection can cost anywhere from $900 to $2,000 depending on a lot of variables, usually system-related variables, seasonal variables. So it's important to me to put it out there to say, and also when I'm working with buyers, if it says septic inspection not yet done, are the sellers hiding something? Like, maybe not intentionally, but like maybe they know their system is 40 plus years old, or maybe they know it's a cesspit system, or maybe they just don't want to face the facts. So why, as a buyer, would you offer the same amount of money for something that had a 40-year-old septic versus a 10-year-old septic? And without the inspection, I can go to the Board of Health and see what they have from last time, but a really updated septic inspection is very helpful if you're trying to attract buyers. So I said to these people, as part of my follow-up, one of my requirements for you, recommendations, would be, let's get that septic tested. And they said, well, what do you mean? We actually have a Title V inspection. And I said, you have one? And they said, oh yeah, we had it tested right before we listed the house. And so I said, okay, well, the whole time your house was listed, it said you did not have a Title V inspection. So now I have to go to my open house because there's people sitting outside of my car, only slightly awkward. You can see I'm blushing. So if you have any questions about standards, or what I might be able to help you with, or if you just want to have a no pressure conversation about potentially listing your property, all my contact info is below. Please read my Google reviews. I can connect you directly with clients who would be happy to talk about their experience working with me, but don't lower your standards. You're paying a lot of money for expertise, and you might as well get the best you possibly can get. So I'm off to 2 open houses today, and there's somebody standing outside of my car, so I gotta go. Have a great day.